almost made a boo-boo. This is Corey, and this is the O The Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Welcome to episode 248 of the O The Anthem podcast, broadcasting to you from the hashtag OTA LA studios, high above the now 110 parking lot in beautiful downtown Los Angeles, California. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, if you're listening to us live and you're heading to the 110 into downtown, 110 South heading into downtown, turn around.
Yeah.
Don't put yourself through this.
If you're on the 110 at all, probably just turn on around and get somebody else.
If you're near Dodger Stadium and you're saying, wow, traffic's getting pretty heavy, you might want to take the 101 to wherever you're going.
Or jump out on Sunset. Hey, this has been your local traffic report. Hyper local traffic report on in a format that's meant to be digested later this week in a recording. So, yeah.
People at home are going like, wow, there was traffic in LA. It's almost hard to believe.
Couldn't even believe that happened. Yes. Anyway, back to thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for subscribing and watching on YouTube and liking and subscribing on YouTube. All that is appreciated by us.
And of course, you can find more O The Anthem at O The Anthem on Instagram and Twitter. You're watching right now, hopefully live, at facebook.com/O The Anthem. You can also, of course, be a part of the show and send a comment right to us. We'll read out comments from anybody who's listening in the chat right now, so long as they're topical and not just, hey, what's up? But we'll shout out people from time to time as well. If you're listening to this on recording at your podcatcher of choice, you can, of course, be a part of the show by sending a text or a call to 443-219-7595.
That's 443-219-7595.
Yes, indeed. And of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention otheanthem.com, where you can find all the episodes of the podcast, as well as all of the short films, as well as youtube.com/otheanthem, where you find all of our recordings as well.
Yeah.
Yep. So you can't beat that.
We got it all covered for you.
Yes. And our coverage is way better than some of the football coverage from this weekend. Some of the coverage on the field, anyway.
You're talking about the coverage of, let's just get into it, shall we?
So here's the good news. Let me get back here. It's the last time we're going to use this for a while.
How dare you? The Capitals are still playing.
That's for sportsball. That's for real sports is what we use that for. But we are 90 some days from pitchers and catchers reporting, which means that baseball is a long ways. Starting, opening day is 4 months off.
We're also 90. In the next 90 days, we should really find some time to go to Vegas and put our World Series Orioles bet or pennant. AL pennant. That's what we decided, right?
It's going to be, the odds are going to be astronomical, and I feel like the person's going to look at us and be like, the Baltimore Orioles? Okay.
You mean the one that was voted the worst? I don't even know if we have odds for this.
Hang on, we gotta make some. Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah, Jerry. Somebody wants to bet on the Orioles.
Yeah, wait. No, the Ravens. No. Orioles? Oh, okay. No, Orioles. That's who they want. So.
Well, just remember, every single time Buck has lost a job, the team has gone to the World Series the following year.
Yeah,
so
not always won.
Not always won.
But they go to the World Series.
They go to the World Series. So the AL pennant, I feel like, is safe in hand.
Yes.
It's going to be the most dramatic comeback in the history of sports.
What, 47 win season to the pennant?
Yeah, 47 win season to a 47 loss season. Here we go.
Man. So wait, that would be 112? Well, how many did we lose this year?
That would be a record by quite a lot, I think.
How many did we lose this year?
We lost.
So 162 altogether. 47 means that there are 12, 15.
I didn't even pay attention to how many losses the Orioles
115
had.
Is how many we had, if you'll believe that. 115 losses.
Hold on, let me go to the standings. Let's see if they still have this statistical.
I literally just did the math.
47 and 115, yes. So
yes,
115 and 47.
Thank you. I know.
But I think 115 has been beat.
No, yeah, didn't. There's a Yankees team that won 119.
I think so.
I think 119 is the.
Hold on a second.
But I mean, listen, if we're gonna shoot for the moon here, let's just say the most wins in history from 47 wins, which might be near the loss in modern history, to 119 wins, the most wins in modern history.
I'm gonna have to. I need to know now. The desire to know is too high. 116, yes.
116 was Yankees, right?
No. 116 was the 1906 Chicago Cubs.
Wow.
The 2001 Seattle Mariners.
Maybe that's who I was thinking of.
The Yankees in 1998 won 114 and 48.
Oh, they were on the way to breaking that.
That Cubs one though is ridiculous though because it's 154.
Yeah.
So they went 116 out of 154, only 36 losses.
Man.
So, yeah.
Anyway,
so go to Vegas, place our bet. Thank God we didn't go to Vegas and place a bet on the Ravens game, though.
Well, I was going to say, I do think, is 47 losses the worst loss?
Mm-hmm.
That's the worst in the history of Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
Well, in the 162.
Least amount of wins in a 160. Yeah, I think we crushed that record by quite a lot.
Man, God damn. It would be nice. Anyway, but yeah, luckily we didn't go place a bet on the Ravens game this past week. Because that didn't work out so well.
Yeah, the Ravens were a 6-point favorite, by the way.
Just they were playing playoff games at the bank.
I would not have put money on the Ravens to win by 6. There's not a way in the world I'd feel comfortable with that.
I wonder what the halftime change was like.
They're
up by Chargers are up by 9 going into the half, and you know how they do the all right
live betting.
Live. If you're in Vegas, you can bet just the second half.
Right.
That the sweeping change must have been huge. I mean, you don't think they would do Chargers by 6 at least?
Oh God,
6 point underdogs to 6-point favorites at halftime.
I don't know how it works when you do live betting. I've never actually done that part. I just place the bet before the game, and then that's all I do.
I mean, the odds change as the game goes on.
Yeah,
so you
can bet during the game.
Right.
I just don't know exactly how it works. I'm not like tight on sports gambling.
You're supposed to be the expert here.
I know.
What are we doing?
Sorry.
What are we even doing? But nonetheless, it started out, first of all, we made it out and watched the game.
Yes.
So that was nice. I do feel like a playoff game was worthwhile to get up at 9 o'clock. Complaint number 1. You're playing an LA team. You're playing a California team.
Yeah.
Why are we playing it the 10 o'clock Pacific game?
That made no sense to me. I mean, I really assume that the NFL's logic was that nobody in LA is actually going to come out and watch this game. Yeah. So why are we even bothering what time? We could put it on at 6 a.m. It doesn't even matter.
To be fair, we were at a bar at 9:45 in the morning, and there was nobody there. The people who were there were Chargers fans for the most part.
There was over the course of the morning, I think there were 6 or 7 Chargers fans who were there.
Yes, and we and those Chargers fans were eventually outnumbered by Eagles fans.
Yeah, there was a good number of Eagles. Game? Yeah.
So in
some
the
people
end,
getting their good seats for the Eagles game later. Yeah,
people who came in early. But again, the Eagles fans, the late game fans, outnumbered the Chargers fans in the bar in downtown LA where we were. So that should tell you. And maybe that's it. Maybe they were just one of these games has got to be late. What is going to be the bigger draw for the late afternoon game? Well, who do we want to stick in that church traffic?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess we stick the Chargers Ravens. And it was a church traffic kind of game.
We all saw it, so we don't need to discuss too much about what happened during the game. I will say this. I am not at all happy with the NFL officiating's idea of why Melvin Gordon didn't have a fumble on the goal line there.
Yeah, did you get a better explanation? What was the explanation?
So I watched a video from whatever NFL Network's morning show is. It's the NFL This Morning or something like that. And they had the president of the rules committee on there describing what exactly happened. And he said there was the hit by Weddle on the foot of Melvin Gordon means that when he went down, he was immediately down the second that he hit. But there was no movement of the ball, so therefore there was no fumble because as soon as he hit the ground, the play was dead because he was in contact.
But you could see
my point, and really, this is when you see coaches screaming on the sideline.
Yeah.
Most of the time, what they're doing is they're arguing about something that probably won't get overturned. They're screaming about some little thing that just to make the referee think about it.
Yeah.
And what Harbaugh's job at that point is supposed to be doing is running up to every single referee and throwing his hat on the ground and going that ball was coming loose. That ball was coming loose before he hit the ground. Not because he has some some ability to see the play and see how it worked out, but in an effort to try and get them to watch the replay and say, "Holy shit, that ball is coming out!"
Yeah, that's the thing he wants them to look at when they're going under the hood.
Because if they're going under the hood and they see that the ball is moving a little bit, then it's still a very high unlikelihood that they overturn the play and actually let the touchdown stand. But to the best of my knowledge, from what of all the replays I saw, they didn't blow the whistle.
No.
So I mean, like, at least they let that part play out. But it was so weird that, I don't know, that was a 14-point swing because they had a touchdown the very next play. It would have been a touchdown for us.
Yeah.
And that would have been a tremendously different game. And, you know, you can't predict how things would change from that point on. But I'm saying that would have given the Ravens the lead by, what, like 3 points at that point?
Yeah, they were
like
down by 4.
15-9 or something.
Down by 4. So,
yeah.
I mean, but the bigger thing, though, is it's about what is he looking at when he goes under the hood?
Right.
Because the question is, was he just looking at, oh, was there a touch? Is he down? Or was he looking at the ball coming loose?
Right.
And that's the big question.
And that's the thing. If you, it's not about like, and again, the likelihood that the referee actually overturns it based off of the video evidence that is there is very low. But that doesn't change the fact that you should be, you know, much like if you found out that quacking like a duck makes police not give you tickets. Imagine how many people are just going to be quacking all the time just because. Even if you just blew through a stop sign and hit a nun and launched her into the side of a school for the blind or something like that.
Quack.
Yeah. The officer comes up to the window. Quack, 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 quack. Like, it's worth a shot. It's worth a shot.
Bro,
quack, 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 quack.
you killed a nun and some children in the quack,
quack, quack, quack, quack, quack, quack.
That's gonna be my new advice. Just quack at the cops. Don't answer their questions. Just quack at them. Yeah, that'll get you tased. That'll get you tased. Don't do that.
I love that video I sent you, by the way, of the two lawyers who are like smoking pot, and it's just like, police comes up to your door. What do you do?
Shut the fuck up. Which is great advice. I don't know how the Bar Association would look at two lawyers on YouTube smoking pot and giving legal advice over the internet.
I mean,
California bar is probably a lot more lax than the Maryland bar.
I mean, it's not against the law to smoke weed now in California.
Nope.
So,
but you were, as an attorney, not allowed to use alcohol in your advertisements. In Maryland, at least. I can't say for California. So I feel like...
Is it the same logic that, like, you could have a drink in your hand, but you just can't drink it?
No.
Because, I mean, like, in advertisements for beer and stuff like that, they can't drink it on TV. But they can show people, like, holding up a bunch of Coronas and, like, having a great time.
So
but you'll never see somebody actually indulge in the beverage.
Part of this thing is it's that you can't show anything that would put the practice of law in a negative light. So that means not just not showing or not just not drinking the alcohol, but not showing alcohol. Not like, again, why would you need to? I
mean, maybe you can make the logic that the weed is medicinal and therefore,
and you could show the weed.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't want to end. In fact, I think as far as Maryland's concerned, you can show an actor portrayal, but you can't have the person claiming to be a lawyer be the one who is holding or referencing or whatever.
Well, maybe they're not actually lawyers.
I mean, maybe they're not. Maybe they get around it. But then you got to worry about California and Florida are both big on the, like, when you hold yourself out to be a lawyer, but you're not a lawyer. So you got to watch out for that. But it was super funny, and people should check it out. Can we put it in the show notes?
I'll put it in the show notes.
It was very funny. Back to the whole point, which is we just got into a huge tuft about the controversy surrounding the Ravens game.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts?
Well, the controversy, which is I saw a random guy wearing a Ravens hat in the building today.
Not a controversy.
And I saw him, and I was just like, "Hey, Ravens fan!" And then I showed him my shirt, which was a Ravens shirt, and immediately launched into, "Do you think we should have brought Joe into that game?" Because they were talking about the halftime show, apparently.
Yes, they were.
Like on the CBS halftime show or something. They were talking about, should Joe come into this game? And like half the coaches and stuff were like, "Yeah, he should come in. He should."
Well, you don't remember that? Were you?
I mean, I wasn't listening to it. When do I listen to the halftime show?
That's also true.
I mean, like, I don't need Boomer Esiason telling me what to think.
But yeah, they basically, at the beginning of the game, they take the vote of who they think is going to win.
Yeah.
And they kind of polled everybody, and they were like, I think this is on the border of getting out of hand. If it starts to get out of hand, they got to bring Joe in. He's a guy with experience. He's a guy who's going to know what to do. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, so basically the controversy is, should the Ravens have, when the game was out of hand, brought Joe in to try and stem the tide and maybe get the Ravens back into it. I don't even, I mean, the Ravens were close at the end. They could have scored and won on the last drive if they wanted to. But it was, Up until garbage time, there was no Ravens offense. 3/4 of negative passing yardage from Lamar Jackson.
When was garbage time?
What?
When was garbage time?
Like when it got up 20-3 or whatever it was at that point.
That last drive, they had a chance to tie it.
I know.
Go for the win.
Yes.
So there's no garbage time. No,
the garbage time is everything up until the point where the Chargers started playing a little bit more lax.
Okay.
And allowing the Ravens to
get
back into the game.
Yeah.
I mean, like, the thought process is that, if you're beating a team by a lot, you're not going to go 100% full bore and you're trying to doing all the same things that you would do when you're in a tie game, trying to make competitive plays. You give them a little bit more cushion so you don't give up the big play, but you're getting a lot of 14-yard outs because the cornerback is giving you more coverage, and it's also helping Lamar because he can't read the corners. Okay. He's having a really hard time reading corners, and he has been the entire time he's been starting for the Ravens. And he just needed to, being able to actually have a little bit of cushion around his wide receivers allowed him to actually throw the ball better downfield.
Okay. Back to the controversy.
Yeah, but everyone who thinks that Joe can't be brought into this game or that it's going to rattle Lamar or some shit like that, just shut the fuck up forever. I mean, really, because I get the players being upset because there were boos at M&T. There was
by the way,
there was a clamoring. There was a clamoring for Joe. That's the part that is more likely to rattle the young quarterback. I mean, there was even a video of Joe on the sideline saying this is fucking ridiculous.
Yes.
They're booing him right now.
Yeah.
But a point had to be made that the Chargers came into this game with a game plan that was, we are not going to let them run all over us. And for the most part, that was true. The Ravens, while they were effective with the run, were not the same running team that they had been previously, especially against the Chargers 3 weeks ago.
Sure. Yeah.
And it was clear that if we were going to beat them, we were going to have to throw the ball. And conventional wisdom probably would say that the best way to beat the Chargers would be to throw the ball anyway, as opposed to running the ball against Bosa and Ingram and stuff like that.
Okay, but we had success with it a few weeks ago.
We did, but that's not just because you win a game running the ball a lot doesn't necessarily mean it's the formula to beat a team.
Okay,
that can be a one-off kind of.
How did that last game go?
Where we beat the Chargers by 2?
Yeah, okay. Oh, a win.
Yeah.
A win.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen, and this is not my. I have no problems with Lamar. I'm really excited about the future of the Lamar led Ravens. But there is a difference between almost any other example that you can give me and what happened on Sunday, which is Lamar just cannot read the defense yet. And this is not a detriment to him. I'm not saying he's not going to be able to get there or that he won't be an exceptional passing quarterback at some point because he's got the arm. It's clear he's got a live arm. The problem is that he can't see where people are moving on the field. So when he's throwing it up blind and then a DB just sneaks in out of nowhere, that's something that we can't afford. I mean, the fumbles and everything like that, the Ravens just could not afford turnovers. And they turned over the ball a ton yesterday. And there was a point where you just started needing to make shots down the field because you had, what we were discussing Joe coming in with 7 minutes left in the fourth and stuff like that. 7 minutes left in the fourth. You need to be able to have time to make the comeback happen, So
yes, yeah.
I just think that if it was Ryan Tannehill, who is the starter for the Dolphins and has been for many years, and he goes out there in a playoff game and he throws 4 picks in the first half,
which he did.
Well, I'm saying if he is out there doing something truly terrible, then there is a expectation that he might get benched, and another quarterback might be brought in to just at least stem the tide and try and get them back into competitiveness.
And your argument is that Lamar's performance was equal to that. Was equal to 4 interceptions.
No, but I'm saying that Lamar's. There were many problems with the Ravens yesterday. One of them was that the coaching was absolutely terrible. The play calling was abysmal, and there didn't seem to be any idea of how to fix the problem.
Yeah.
The other part, though, is that Lamar just could not handle what they needed, what was needed to get them back into this game.
And your argument is Joe Flacco had that.
Joe Flacco is more that at some point, 5 years from now or something like that, there's going to be a team who does 2 quarterbacks, and they're going to dedicate themselves to this idea.
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's
the
gonna,
downfield quarterback,
just like there used to be 32 running backs. Like every single team had a bell cow running back, like Le'Veon Bell, who just 70% of the rushes went to Le'Veon Bell.
Yep.
And maybe there was like some big huge idiot who you'd hand off the ball to on the 1 yard line, like a fullback who
the bus.
Yeah.
The bus.
Who just runs in for the 1 yard touchdown or something like that. Or maybe you have a speed guy who also does like punt returns and stuff like that, but he's also a change of pace back or like the second string guy.
All I can think is
now the running backs in the NFL, you have to have like 2 or 3 of them.
All I can think is Marquise Colston. Is that
wide receiver?
Hofstra's quarterback?
No, wide receiver.
No, he's New Orleans wide receiver.
Yeah,
but he was Hofstra's quarterback.
He was Hofstra's tight end.
Oh, who was our quarterback?
No. I don't. Oh, are you talking about Giovanni Carmazzi?
No, I thought
that's the only drafted quarterback from Hofstra.
I thought Marquise Colston was a quarterback that went to wide receiver.
No, he was a tight end that went to wide receiver.
Oh, wait. So change on that then.
Yeah.
But my point is that it's sometimes that the quarterbacks in college go to wide receiver. Yes,
well, I mean
they can.
They can. They're. I mean, Terrell Pryor is probably the best known version of this. He was a quarterback for Ohio State, but nobody thought of him as being able to handle the quarterback position at the NFL level. So he transitioned into wide receiver to play in the NFL. And
so my thought process,
he's had ups and downs with it. But
how does the value go up of a guy like that who is on the field every single play, but you can run an option with, but he's a quarterback. So, he's got the training and the mentality of a quarterback.
I just think they're gonna have people who come in certain looks.
But then like when Lamar comes in, it's like, all right, run play, here we go. He's not throwing it downfield.
Well, I mean,
like,
you can say the same thing about the Patriots and their running backs. James White comes in, there's more likely they're gonna pass it. If Sony Michel's in there, then that means they're gonna run it.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, there's no like question. I mean, like, do they pass the ball when Sony Michel's in there? Yes, but do they pass it to Sony Michel? No. Right. So I mean, like, we know that, if James White is in there, there's a higher likelihood that they're passing. If Michel's in there, there's a highly likelihood that they're running it.
I'm going to put her down. I just want to say Carly Cruz making an appearance on the podcast today. So, okay, Carly, time to go.
She's distracting me.
Yes. So back to the controversy, though. Here is my point, and it's a point you've discounted, but I'm going to make it nonetheless, which is that next year, Lamar Jackson is going to be the starter. I think we agreed at that, right?
Yeah, they're going to trade Joe somewhere.
And most likely his backup's going to be RG3, another experienced quarterback.
Yeah, or, somebody akin to...
Sure.
Yeah.
But it's going to be somebody who's got more NFL experience, probably more successful experience than Lamar does.
Yeah, I mean, like, the idea when you have a rookie quarterback is you want somebody who's, like, able to help shepherd their career along a little bit.
Was it Greg Zahn who was the catcher when Wieters came up?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like, why is he here? Well, because he's here for Wieters. Yeah. When Wieters comes up, he's going to be the guy who's like...
Who teaches Wieters all his tricks.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. In with him and teaching him 10 years worth of catching, or God, like 15 years. Greg Zahn was old as hell. But God, his knees got to be horrible, right? But anyway, no, my point is...
He had a little stool.
Wait, he did. He had those pads, into his right?
Butt, yeah.
No, he had those pads. You actually sat on the pads.
Those are the knee savers, yeah.
Yeah. That's how you do it.
It's not quite the same thing. He's got the actual stool, like a cobbler's stool.
Every time he sits down, you see the 2 legs pop down. bipod that comes down off his pants. By the way, you think that's a rule violation?
I'm sure they can't have
a bipod that they sit on. Anyway, so here's my point. Lamar's going to have somebody with experience behind him. If they would,
I imagine they would have put Buster Posey out on them, like when
yes.
he was out for the season.
He's like, no.
He got blown out of the plate. It's just like, no, you could sit for the rest of the season.
Just throwing it, not even getting up, just
rolling it back to the pitcher
behind the plate. And he's like, I don't know what to tell you.
Wild pitch. He just looks at it. He's like, oh, that sucks.
Somebody better get that. But
Hey, Pablo, you want to get that one?
Lamar is going to have an experienced quarterback behind him, most likely.
Yeah.
And if you pull him in a situation like that in this game, and I don't care. I know you say it's not true, but there is no way that doesn't get in his head in big game situations next year.
Nobody was talking about woe is me to Joe Flacco and his fragile ego when Lamar Jackson was coming in running one-off run pass options.
He was the quarterback. He was Drew Bledsoe.
He was going into the season. He was the starter. There was no reason to imagine that he wasn't going to be the starter unless he either got hurt, which he did, or he was so horrendously terrible. And the Ravens were so far out of it that they said to themselves, it's not even worth throwing Joe out there anymore because if he gets hurt, then we're fucked.
Because we can't trade him next year.
Yeah. And we might as well get Lamar out there and get him some reps. But that's the part of the beauty of Lamar coming in when he did was he came in at the point in the season where we were discussing like, well, the Ravens basically have to win out.
Yes.
Or like effectively win every one of their games
and then
from here on out to have a chance to get into the playoffs. And then a they did that.
He did that. He led the team to that. He led the team to that.
There's a lot of Ravens fans right now who are suffering from some very short-term memory. And number one, Joe has led us on multiple fourth quarter comebacks.
Yes.
In the playoffs especially, where he is truly a different player than he is during the regular season.
How many of those happened last year or the year before?
Well, none of them happened for the last 4 years because we haven't been in the playoffs for 4 years.
And who would be responsible for that? Joe Flacco,
Injuries?
The leader of the team.
No,
the leader of the team. Perhaps
I still maintain that Joe. I mean, like for all the people who are talking about like Phillip Rivers being a Hall of Famer and Matt Ryan and all these other quarterbacks who came out like roughly around the same time that Joe did.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers obviously has probably like 5 or 6 more years than Joe does under his belt. Mm-hmm. But I mean, these guys played with other players who were incredible. Joe's best wide receiver ever was either Anquan Bolden or Steve Smith, and both of them were way past what we would consider their prime at the time.
Crabtree looks really good, but he's at the end of his career now.
Crabtree is not Julio Jones.
No, he's not.
Who Matt Ryan has had for his entire time.
Yes.
A combination of Julio Jones and Roddy White and all Sanu and all these people. And Rivers has had... Antonio Gates, which is a wonderful piece to have.
Who's looking old as hell, by the way. Ooh.
But I mean, like, all these, Joe has never had a supporting cast around him that made him better. And many of the times where we were not making the playoffs here for the last 4 years, we were throwing out, who's the wide receiver who led the team in receptions that 1 year and was like fucking out of the NFL now? It was only like 2 or 3 years ago.
No idea.
I can't even remember. He eventually signed on with the Colts. I don't even know if he's still on the team.
Rashard Perriman?
No. But I mean, like Perryman is another one,
yep.
And like the number of times that we've had nobody to fucking throw to.
Yeah.
And I think that Joe has a very complicated legacy because people have a hard time seeing the things that he did with a less than stellar supporting cast. Mm-hmm. And if anything, I'm going to say this. This is the point I'll leave you with. And it's not about, whether or not Joe should have come in or not or any of that. It's about what we're doing going forward. There's going to be a State of the Ravens press conference probably in like a week or something like that. It's usually, they give them like a week to like think about things. Mm-hmm. And it'll be, Ozzie and Steve Bisciotti and Harbaugh up there. And if they want Lamar Jackson to take the next step and be the best version of himself that he can be.
Yeah.
They need to go up there and fire Marty
yes.
immediately.
100%.
Because here's the thing. Learning NFL defenses is something that most people probably wouldn't be able to do. Mm-hmm. You think about like these stupid jocks and, the people who are quarterbacks and stuff like that. You don't necessarily, well, I mean, like if you said to somebody, how smart is an athlete? Like on this chart where 10 is Nobel laureate and 0 is guy who scrapes gum off of the ground at Disney. Yeah. Not to cast aspersions, but
Yeah, I hear you. I hear
but I'm
you.
saying if you're making a scale, right?
Yeah.
And you're saying NFL player, where are you ranking them on the list? I imagine
4 or 5.
sub 5 somewhere is where most people would rank them. But to be an NFL quarterback and to be able to see how things are moving without knowing exactly how they're going to go is a special skill.
Yeah.
And it's something that's really hard to do and especially hard to learn. And the difference between a top flight college and the NFL level is like going from, high school chemistry to NASA. Like there's
also, by the way,
outrageous divide.
Phillip Rivers, really good at it.
Yeah.
Him reading the Ravens defense and like coming up to the line, seeing where everything was, changing the play at the line. That's what you want.
Well, not only that, I mean, like, and it's the type of thing that like it may not necessarily allow you to write dissertations on how the Roman Empire fell or anything like that. Yeah. But he's, if you talk to Phillip Rivers at like halftime, he'll say things like, well, for the first quarter and a half there, we were only converting 4 of 7 first downs. And we need to bring that number up. I need to be over 75% if I'm going to feel confident about a comeback in this. Like knowing numbers and stuff like that and being able to like articulate them into a game plan and things like that. It's just an outrageously difficult thing to do. And that's why I don't get on Lamar's case so much when he doesn't, look like a traditional quarterback throwing the ball, because I understand that he just can't see what is going on the same way that Phillip Rivers can see.
And also in college, it's less necessary to do that.
And when you get a certain number of seasons in, when you're Drew Brees or Phillip Rivers or Aaron Rodgers or something like that, like it just becomes easy. The problem is that your body starts breaking down and it becomes harder to be.
Tom Brady said that, right? Like,
it was Manning. Peyton Manning.
Yeah. If I had 2 more seasons or 3 more seasons.
Well, Peyton was saying like by the time he got to Denver, like he was playing mentally, he was playing the game at a different level.
Yeah.
And nobody could touch him in terms of like what he was seeing on the field.
Yeah.
The problem was that his body wasn't cooperating with him. So he would try and make that same throw he used to make because he knew that he had the go route open.
Yeah.
But he just couldn't make it. And that's regardless, Marty needs to go.
Yes.
Because there is a real chance that if you get a good imaginative coach who has some gravitas to him and like can speak to the offensive side of the ball and make this the team that we want. You cannot convince me that next season wouldn't be Michael Vick in his heyday with Lamar.
And
if you remember, Michael Vick used to run for 80 yards in a game, but he used to also throw for 300. He had an electric arm.
Getting him out now is the important part, though, so that we are getting free agency with the new OC, getting the draft with the new OC, and getting winter meetings and everything.
I do not trust Marty Morningweg. I just do not. He's not capable of crafting a quarterback. Like we talked about Peyton Manning. The reason why Adam Gase was so in demand with Miami and why he's probably going to get another NFL head coaching career was because he took Peyton Manning from the best college football quarterback in a long time and was able to craft him into one of the 5 best quarterbacks of all time. Yep. And again, the divide between those two is so huge.
Yeah.
And somebody who's able to bring you to that level is a very special thing. You need somebody who's going to be able to get Lamar started off right.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with him, sort of getting his reps this season and doing everything that he needs to do and preparing for the future. But we really need a serious offensive mind to handle what we're going to be doing here. And part of the reason why Marty was saved for so many years here was because Joe kept saying, I just don't want to change a new system.
Yeah, because he had several systems in the first few years.
First 9 seasons, he had 7 offensive coordinators or something like that. And he's like, please, just for the love of God, just bring Marty back. Like,
do you think he regrets that now?
Oh, I'm sure he regrets that.
Yeah. I mean, maybe
because Marty's been resting on laurels. Yep. But I mean, and I'm not saying fire Harbaugh or fire Martindale or anybody else. I'm just saying, just fire Marty. Everyone else who's on the offensive coaching staff can stay for now.
And we'll see.
The new offensive coordinator will decide if they want to change people.
Yep.
But Marty is gone because I just can't. I can't do it. I can't see the promise of the next generation being thrown away under Marty's stupid ass watch.
Yes.
And if you just fire him in week 9 next season, you're ruining all that time in the preseason where you could be like in the off-season drills and everything like that.
You might ruin your quarterback too.
Yeah.
It might get to the point where he's just saying, I learned all these things under my last OC and it's hard for me to relearn somebody else's.
You know what? I mean, like I know it wouldn't happen because he's perfectly fine at Michigan at the moment.
But
Harbaugh? I wouldn't mind bringing in Jim Harbaugh as OC.
The whole Harbaugh army. I mean, he's never going to do it because he likes being at college football level better than he does.
And I'm sure that he wouldn't want to be like an offensive coach per se, but the ability to mold. I mean, like he's just really good at quarterbacks. Yeah. He's really good at being able to
also, would you go from a professional coaching job to one of the best college jobs ever to being a coach under your brother?
Yeah, I get the logic.
Under your little brother,
I'm just
right?
saying, like, one of the idea of it is just
it's good.
That's as far as like if he got fired tomorrow for something, then it's just wandering around the campus going like, Michigan State, woo! And he just gets fired. Then
yes.
So I think that does it for sports ball.
Well, yeah,
solid.
Let's.
Solid 45 minutes of sports ball.
So speaking of stupid
Rachel
pronouncements,
rocking her Merc. Oh wait, no, that's Daisy. Is that you?
Yes.
Are you Daisy?
We have a Switch in the building now, and there's been a lot of Switch playing recently.
I will say this: Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild is a amazing game.
And he can speak from experience because he has about 97 hours of playtime in the last 100 hours. So
I usually don't get tied up in video games. The only time I ever do it is Legend of Zelda. It just it chanced me. And I think so much of the problem was, and I found myself doing this earlier. I finished writing, and then I was going to take a break for a while so I could like clear my head and then read it fresh, right?
Yeah. So you started playing.
Like, I'm going to play for an hour here.
Nope.
And then an hour in, I'm like beating a boss, and then I'm just saying to myself like, all right, so what I should really do is get to my next pot.
Yes.
Go to the next place I need to go to, and I'll save the game there. And then when I can start the game fresh, I'll be already there, ready to go, ready to get into it. And then that turns into 4.5 hours later of just like, of course I'll help you find an owl, ma'am.
Yeah, and this is how Red Dead Redemption gets you.
Yeah.
Because it's the missions inside the missions that when you're going to save and then like, help me, and you go over and do it.
Yeah, and I'll say that Zelda probably owes a lot to open world games like that a little bit more, because old Zelda games were very much you would have some character come and tell you every couple seconds like, oh, you should probably be heading to Death Mountain right about now, and then you were like, all right, well, I guess I'm
going to Death Mountain.
Yeah, but then in this game it's just sort of like, all right, well, see ya. You're just like,
I'm gonna go find. I'll be there eventually.
Wandering around, going like, what do I do? And it's actually more. I find it more invigorating not to being told what to do.
Yes,
and just sort of because again, so much of the old Zelda games were like, you know, you needed to have a hook shot by the time you got to Zora's Kingdom, and if you didn't have it, then you were fucked.
But it was guiding you to get that. On the way,
right.
And I mean. Honestly, like I like the open world because it's like you don't necessarily need something, but it certainly is hell of a lot easier if you get things on the way.
If you have like a fully stocked gear list, then you're probably better off.
But you can do that in your side missions first. Go out and do that stuff, and then start the whole thing. So anyway, speaking of smart men making really dumb pronouncements like Jim Harbaugh, we have that coming up soon. But
what smart man are you talking about?
I mean, the president. The president's going to be on TV tomorrow. I don't know if you heard about that or not. But before we get into that, the shutdown. The shutdown. Now in its third week.
Yes.
Bordering on about to border on the longest shutdown ever. The longest as it stands right now, as I said in the pre-show meeting, I believe is 22 days from 1996. Which, if I remember right, was also in the wintertime. I want to say it wasn't around Christmas because I feel like they pushed it into January or February, but then went 3 weeks in like February.
Yeah, I think that's right. That sounds right to me.
Yeah, because they were smart and said, you know what we don't want to do? We don't want to alienate our base by shutting down at Christmas.
Yeah,
and this president doesn't believe that.
Trump is. I like how Trump too, and not like, but I enjoy that Trump, when asked about all the people who haven't gotten a paycheck for 3 weeks now. What they're doing, like how he feels about that situation. He's just like, well, you know, things like this happen and people find a way to make it work.
Yep.
And I'm just like, I don't.
Billionaires.
You find a way to make it work.
Yeah. Supposed billionaires. Millionaires, at least.
Hey, Dad, I need some money. Okay, Donald. Okay, yep. Donald, here you go. That's how he's had to make it work.
We didn't really talk about this, but just to mention it, White House staff got a pay increase during the shutdown, or the Trump staff got a pay increase during the shutdown. So, tone deaf does not begin to summarize you have TSA workers who
are working for free,
and you give your staff a raise. It's beyond me. Beyond me. Hey, a friend of the show, Roberto Arizona, joining from Sonora, Mexico, where I was just a few weeks ago. Welcome, Roberto. I hope that you take the time to play for your parents my greeting for them from last week's episode. If you guys are wondering about my adventures in Sonora, you can check that out on last week's episode 247. 247. Can't believe we're up that high.
I know.
But so the shutdown is in full effect, which means there's very little news except for people wondering, when is the shutdown going to end? Right. The House actively taking up the issue, trying to address the shutdown. The Senate,
not so much.
What is the Senate addressing?
Nothing.
Oh no, they have a bill. Oh damn, I had this.
Are you talking about the 100 to 1 or 100?
No. Senate Bill 1. Oh, yeah. The Senate not taking up the shutdown. Instead, a bill which would make the BDS or the... what is this group called? Where like you don't buy things from Israel as a protest, making that illegal. So a company who actively does not take bids in Israel cannot take a bid from the United States government now. So,
okay.
Have you heard about this?
No.
Yeah. So, God, I wish I remember what the protest is called. Anyway, the bill was written by AIPAC, which is the American-Israeli Partnership something committee, and it's now been bringing. But so it gives state and local governments explicit legal authority to boycott any U.S. companies which themselves are participating in a boycott against Israel.
I mean, they basically just have to take an offer, though, right?
What do you mean?
I mean, like, you know, the reason why Apple has all its banking based out of Ireland is because Ireland has the best rates for corporations who are trying to hide money overseas. Yeah. So, I mean, like, you know, if the thought process is that you have to take some pitches from Israeli banks as well, and they take a pitch and then that they don't have enough to get the business, that doesn't really matter at that point, right? I mean, like,
so there is like basically a group that signed up, and I can't. I wish I could remember.
Memory is failing me.
Boycott, divestment, and sanctions. So there's basically a list, and it says we as a company will not support Israel.
Okay.
So we are part of the boycott, divestment, and sanction agreement. And basically, the companies who do that, who join this agreement, will then they couldn't be a local or state government couldn't say we're not taking a bid from you because you're a part of the BDS, because that would be discrimination.
Yeah.
And if they happen to be the lowest bid...
But does this happen in any other... I mean, like, if I don't take any pitches from, you know, Cameroon, does that...
Well, no, these are American companies pitching to American local and state governments.
Yeah.
So, yes, if you said, I'm not taking any bids from Cameroon because I don't like Cameroonians, then that would be illegal under the federal statute.
But if it's like, I'm just not taking any bids because I know it's not worth it for me to...
Oh, no bids at all?
Yeah.
Then no, we don't have to worry about it. The problem, though, is that often these companies are the cheapest bid. Yeah. And the state and local governments were not doing things because they were saying, by law, we have to take the cheapest bid. We don't want to work with this company that's part of the BDS movement. Right. So what do? Well, we're not going to do the project. So the Senate, again, instead of fixing the shutdown or working on fixing the shutdown, said, listen, guys, it's okay. You can, in fact, discriminate against those groups and not take their bid. Take the next lowest bid.
Yeah, it's wonderful that they have all this time to do this.
Yes, way better than, you know, fixing the government shutdown, which is keeping people... oh, by the way, if you're trying to fly in the next few weeks, don't. Yeah. TSA is doing a sick out where they can't miss work because they're required, but they can't stop them from calling out sick.
Also, the FAA isn't checking to make sure that planes are operational. So
yeah. So maybe
if there
not
was
a
a
good time.
chance that your plane might not be at full health, it's over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So I would probably avoid flying.
Not a great time at all. Not a great adventure. Not only do you almost miss the flight because of the TSA line, but then the plane
because there's
crashes.
one person who actually showed up. He's just like, I'm not sick.
Yeah. But we have bigger fish to fry.
Also, their scanners aren't working, and they can't tell if like certain things are actually bombs or not. So.
And they can't fix the scanners because that part of the government not funded.
Right.
So yeah, they can't actually get a repairman in because those guys are not government workers.
Right.
And they can't have them come in and pay them. And most people don't work for free. So funny how that works.
On the other side of it, if you ever wanted a cheaper flight in your life, it's coming up. Right
now it's about to be time to travel. And I mean, maybe if you're on a different airline.
New York for $20. How can I turn that down?
I'll roll the dice. It's fine. There was that plane that flew halfway to Hawaii with like the casing of the engine off and it was flaming and they made it. I'm sure it'll be fine. But
just go to sleep. Tell everyone you love them. Go to sleep on the flight.
Just over the best.
Hope you wake up in LaGuardia.
The House is actually taking on the shutdown, and the Senate is taking on the BDS bill, and the president is taking on the wall. Because clearly, this shutdown is not subtly about the wall.
It's entirely about the wall. Yeah,
yes.
I mean, like that's the only thing that is keeping Trump from signing any. I mean, he's said, "I'm not signing anything that doesn't have $5.7 billion for the wall."
By the way,
to which he's also, I'm a little bit tired of all the people. I mean, if you're a reporter and you want to say, what the fuck's up with you said Mexico would pay for it part?
Yeah.
Feel free to go on with that line of questioning.
How about that?
But, when Trump said he wanted a concrete wall during the campaign and now he's saying metal fencing or slats or steel slat, whatever, like it's all effectively the same thing.
Yeah.
Can we not you're just making yourself look like idiots when you're going up saying like, you said it was going to be a concrete wall and now it's not a concrete wall. And
how about this? You said Mexico was going to pay for it.
Explain yourself. Like what the wall is made of hypothetically is the least concerning part to me. I don't give a shit what the wall is hypothetically made of. I just care about if we're going to have the stupid wall, I would love for Mexico to pay for it. I mean, like that would be the best case version of it, I guess.
Yes.
But anything short of that, no, I don't want them to wall.
So by the way,
I don't want a, we just did a trade deal and it's going to make, that was Trump's logic is we pulled a new NAFTA.
Yeah.
And we're going to make more than the $5.7 billion.
That's not how it works.
Yeah. It's not, my tax money goes to the wall.
Yes.
If Schumer rolls over and Pelosi rolls over,
which they will,
then my tax money goes to paying the wall, and I'm not okay with that. And I'm not okay with the idea that Ford is going to make more money in a new trade deal with Mexico as a reason why I should be okay with it.
By the way, illogical. If the trade deal is how we're paying for it, do you know who pays for that tariff? Sorry,
we do.
I didn't realize.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Who is it?
We do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mexico still not paying for it. You, the consumer, are inevitably going to pay for it.
Yeah.
Because although the Mexican company, yes, will pay higher tariffs, they're just going to pass that right along to you. So prices go up. So enjoy that. Dumbass, that's not how it works.
I would, just as an exercise, I think it would really be funny is to just buy like a introduction to business book. Or just go to, buy a college textbook, like take out a second mortgage on your house and buy a college textbook.
Sure, yeah.
And just start asking Trump about different business, general principles.
Just have a reporter stand up there and be like, yeah, Mr. President, what is this? And just wait for him to respond.
What do most economists think is the best way to handle a bear market when we are 18 to 24 months off of a bull market and the the interest rates are currently trading at blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And just like stand there and like look at him and just wait for him to like.
By the way, nobody stop bailing him out when you ask your follow up because he doesn't answer your question.
Yeah.
Sit and stare. Just sit and stare at him, and just everybody in the room just sit and stare.
Or other report, like I get that you're all working for different companies, so it's like a little bit tough to like act like you're all in this together, but you're all in this together. So I would love nothing more if like Jim Acosta asks a question and then Trump doesn't answer it.
Screw you,
and
not answering it. Next up,
Fox, and then Tucker Carlson stands up or whoever the Fox person is. He's just like,
question.
are you going to answer Jim Acosta's question or what's
question.
up? And then just
Fox will
keep
never do that,
going
but-
until like eventually he's
Right.
calling on Breitbart
until he storms out. That's what happens. Like 3 or 4 times. Then
all
he
right,
just storms out.
Breitbart. So, Trump, you're so amazing. Can you?
How do you stay so amazing? Oh. Anyway, so
Do you guys know that he's 70 years old? How does he look so good?
how do you look so young?
I'm 55 and I look like shit.
I'm 35. I feel like shit. Okay, so how we got on this is that the president is going to be having an address to the nation.
Yeah.
And there was some debate today about whether or not the news network should give him airtime.
Yeah.
I'll let you start. Should they give the president airtime?
Yeah.
Yeah? Just
Yeah.
Because this is the argument I didn't get to make outside to you is, that they denied Obama airtime in 2014. And you know what the topic of his talk was?
What?
Immigration. And you know why?
No.
Because both NBC and ABC said, we believe that this topic will be too partisan and we are not going to give you the time.
Okay.
So what is Trump speaking about tomorrow?
The emergency that he's going to cook up for
Okay, well, yeah.
making the military fund his wall.
Generally
or like build
speaking,
his wall.
generally speaking,
Yeah. And immigration. Yeah.
More specifically, there's been some wild speculation that may not be as so wild that he's going to declare a state of emergency. Which, by the way, I did some research today.
He's openly talked about this. Yeah.
Did some research. Scary easy to do.
Yeah.
Scary easy for the president just to be like, oh, you know what? National emergency. Habeas corpus suspended. Martial law in effect. But basically what he's going to do is he has the right to spend a certain amount of the military budget as he sees fit. So he's going to declare a state of emergency and then use the military budget and soldiers to, like the Army Corps of Engineers, to build the wall.
Yeah.
Which he won't be able to do because they'll tie it up. There'll be a lawsuit.
There will be a
whole
lawsuit
thing.
before the ink is dry on
Right.
the.
But do you know what happens though? That the important thing is
Some judge in San Francisco is staying up late to okay
just
a lawsuit.
just waiting for it. But the thing is that he will say, well, the courts blocked me.
Yeah.
And he'll end the shutdown.
Yeah.
He'll say, I tried it this way. The courts blocked me. We're going to end the shutdown. And he'll blame the courts.
Or he'll say, I won. I'm
Yes.
getting the money. It's just a matter of getting through the courts.
Yes.
Most people don't know. I do business all the time.
I
and
see this.
It's always an impediment. You know,
Yes.
like before I actually build a building, there's 7 years of lawsuits and eventually it gets built. But
we're there. We're
if
there
there's
now.
a terrorist attack, you can blame Mexico for it because of what happened right here.
Yep.
It's
And
tied up in the court system.
But you're right. He can say, let's end the shutdown because I'm going to get it eventually.
Yeah.
Even if he knows
He's never going to get
he
it.
will never get it.
Yeah.
And the rubes and boobs in flyover country will believe it. The amount of people I see defending this nonsense is ridiculous.
Here's the number one problem is that you're hoping that the Republicans hold on long enough to get some sort of victory out of this, which I don't think the Democrats are in the position to do.
Yeah.
I mean, Pelosi is starting tomorrow just going to bring up individual items of things to fund. So
Yes.
the RS is tomorrow or something like that. So they're just going to have a vote on like individual parts of the government.
Yes. And then hope that the Senate says, yeah, you know what? This is not bad. Let's fund this.
We probably should allow people to get their tax returns. Yes,
Yeah.
we will allow the IRS. Well, how can you have the IRS with the Department of Homeland Security? And it's just like, this whole thing is about the security of the country. So we probably should have DHS.
P.S. Alexandria.
By the way, there's no meat inspector. Should we get the Food and Drug Administration? It's like, all right, fine. The FDA can come too. I don't.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Yes.
I've been a supporter of yours. I have been on board with you. You're about to lose me. Don't run on being different, and don't run on never voting for funding for ICE, and then vote for DHS funding. Because you know where ICE is?
Department of Homeland Security?
Yes.
No.
And when you vote to approve their budget, you're approving an ICE budget. And then go on Twitter and say, oh, well, I mean, it should probably be reduced, but the way they presented the budget now, actually ICE's budget is going down and DHS. No. You voted yes. Only, by the way, what you didn't have to do, straight party line vote. You could have voted no, and it still would have passed.
Yeah.
But you didn't.
By the way, this is going to be the best time to like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez because it's before she starts disappointing you.
Oh yeah,
and it's going to happen. I mean, it's just not.
Started.
I mean, it's not. At some point, she's going to vote for something that is going to drive everyone fucking crazy, and then they're going to be like, "Where was AOC on this nonsense?"
Yeah.
You know.
I was at 100, and then this vote took me down to 25, and then I saw a really cute video of her dancing, and that took me back up to 70. So we're floating betwing 50 and 70 right now.
I love that video.
Yes. Thank you, Republicans, for leaking that.
I'm so thoroughly convinced that somebody in her office basically just knows somebody who writes at like Republican think tanks and was just like, oh my God, you got to see this video. Fucking Alexandra hates this shit.
She'll lose it.
If she finds out that this video that was on YouTube for all these years is big again, she is going to go crazy.
Yeah. By the way,
and then it gets out there and everyone's just like, oh, look at 21-year-old beautiful Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez dancing on a rooftop.
No. There's nothing bad about that video. I've seen it. Trust me. What was I going to say? Her bartending pictures came out of her bartending.
Yeah.
As she was running a political campaign, and she was like, alcohol's legal, and I needed to work. Not all of us have silver spoon to just basically not work. Made me love her more. But her voting is probably going to break my heart, so that's unfortunate.
And she's pitching the 70% tax on over 10 million.
Yeah.
Which is going to, you know what? I may not necessarily agree with all the details, even though there's not really many details other than 70% over 10 million to speak of right now. And, you know, I'm fine with, you know, a tax on the rich going towards, you know, green policies because I think it's important that we get on that as soon as humanly possible. The one thing I do like about what she did is unlike Democrats of old, I think we talked about this before, where like traditionally, if Pelosi was just like, all right, we want a 50% tax on $10 million or over to pay for all the things that we want to do, but we're not going to get 50%. We're only going to get 40% maybe. Yeah. So we should start at 60. Because that'll give it, you know, that'll get us down. Sure. We shouldn't go high because they're just going to laugh at us.
Yeah,
we should start lower at a more reasonable number so that we can work towards eventually getting 45.
Yeah,
and Ocasio-Cortez is just like, hey, 70% tax, fuck everybody.
Yeah. By the way,
I ain't playing games.
Says 70, and then in an interview says, you know, we could go to 90. It was 90 for a while. The most prosperous time in our history.
Right.
It was 90. So 70 doesn't sound so bad, does it, guys? Huh? How about that? Yeah. I mean, I'll give it to her. I like her spunk. I just don't think that. I think she's going to break my heart, just like every other woman.
Yeah.
Every other woman in my life has. So, but back to Trump real quick. Don't let him call you fake news. Don't let him talk about how you are destroying democracy and then give him a place to speak. That's bullshit, and you're all scared, and we are a country of a bunch of pussies, and you need to bunk up a little bit, for Christ's sake.
I think that two ideas. One that I saw on a tweet that I think you shared, which I really enjoyed, was they should tape delay it.
Yeah.
Basically just run it 5 minutes after he actually does it, and then do live fact checks.
Live, but like as it's running, fact checking. Yeah.
You know, because he's going to say something about 4,000 terrorists who've come across the Mexican border when in fact it's zero.
Zero
4,000. That 4,000 is terrorists who've tried to get into the country by all means.
Yes.
And they're just lumping getting across the border.
Terrorist, very loose.
Yeah.
It means somebody who's on the list. Yeah,
Rob.
For fuck's sake. When I came across the border from Mexico, I made 4,001. I was one of the first ones of the year because I'm on those lists, just so you know. And don't give him a platform for this nonsense with the wall. That's all I'm saying. We all know it's bullshit. Don't give him the platform. I don't care that he's president of the United States. If there was no precedent, I might be a little more like, because it's like Trump, and I don't want to do that.
Basically, how I feel is that, generally speaking, as a rule, I feel like if the president says that he has an emergency that he needs to get out to the American people, which is how Trump is relaying his message right now. Even if we know that what he's going to talk about is a fake emergency at the border.
Yeah.
He's saying to, this to a degree, it's a boy who cried wolf situation. And you have to let the boy cry wolf once before the story takes effect.
No, he's been crying wolf the whole time.
I get what you're saying, but I'm saying, like, as far as a normal course of action, I would say that if the president says he has an emergency that he needs to get out to the American people, you have to just let it happen. Another idea that I just had here is just have all your figurehead news anchors on standby. Just, like Trump starts at 9:00 Eastern, have Lester Holt sitting in a chair in NBC at 9:00 and just waiting. And then the second that Trump says something that is outrageously unfalse or, like completely untrue or anything like that, cut the feed, go to Lester Holt. He says, we can't let this stand.
Yeah.
We're if you want to see full coverage of what Trump is saying, you can go on to MSNBC right now. But we on NBC, the one that is reached by hundreds of millions of people in this country, will not allow this to continue to.
Honestly, that probably sends a better message than my plan. Not doing it at all is the
yanking it away from him when he's 30 seconds in.
Yeah, 2.5 seconds in when he tells his first lie, you just say, we will not allow blatant falsehoods to be put out on the airwaves.
Yeah.
So we're taking it away. So
we will not have news on the screen while Trump is saying nonsense.
Yes.
It's just not.
It says news in the corner, and that used to mean something. We want it to mean something again.
So I mean, if they all want to do that and get ready to poll, and we can do a check tomorrow of what news agencies polled first and stuff like that, that's fine with me too. I mean,
honestly, let's hope it ends up like the election where everyone's trying to be first to call. They're just like, go. Wait, did we go first? Damn, CNN. All right.
My fellow Americans, boom, Russian.
Oh, yes. And by the way, we have
Lester Holt needs just like 30 seconds in, 3 seconds in. Trump already.
Of note, by the way, just if anybody's wondering, the Mueller investigation. Mueller investigation. Mueller investigation outside of the shutdown. Yeah. Everyone there is still working, still getting paid because it's a special congressional.
So basically how it worked is last year they cut them a check for everything they were going to need for a while.
Basically, he said, I estimate it's going to be this much.
They have a budget by which they're working off of, and that budget is already in the bank and being used to.
If you listen to last week's episode, much like the Smithsonian, who had their yearly budget and therefore was open until the end of the year. Mm-hmm. Mueller has a better budget.
Yeah. Better budget than the Smithsonian.
Yes, probably so. Probably so. I do want to talk about one more thing.
Because lawyers are expensive.
Yeah, lawyers are expensive. I want to talk about one more thing before we get out of here. And of course, that's going to require that we head on down to the Baltimore corner.
Where you get the straight dope?
Right. So we would be remiss if we didn't talk about it. It's been in a tweet storm, not a non-Trump tweet storm, but something we talked about maybe a few weeks ago. Fitzgerald is out.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Wait, when did this happen?
Just today.
I had T-shirts made.
Welcome, Commissioner.
Welcome to Baltimore. And, all the things are just on tape, so I can take them off and replace it with a new name in 7 months.
Yeah, it's like, God, I feel like there was a team
Welcome,
that did,
Commissioner Fitzgerald.
I mean, honestly, you might as well make Barksdale because I feel like they were going to set him to take up anyway. Maybe we just get him now. Get him as commissioner instead. I think it'd be a big jump for him because he was just like a captain or something before. But
I think he's a little too mouthy for Pugh.
I like it. I like it.
Oh, I know, but I'm saying I don't think Pugh likes that.
Oh no,
I don't think she wants somebody who's going to talk back.
Of course she doesn't. But and we shouldn't make light of this. I don't know how true it is.
It's true. His son is having a second emergency brain surgery.
It just seems so convenient. The timing just seems very convenient.
I get it. I'm not. Listen, I don't know. I don't know Fitzgerald other than the things that I read. And I could say, much like Marty Mornhinweg is not fit to be an offensive coordinator in the NFL.
Yeah.
I can call things as I see them on these sort of things. But it's not like I'm, obviously I have a long history of saying Marty Mornhinweg should be stabbed and bled out in front of the entire team.
Yes.
But that's really as the character of Marty Mornhinweg, not the actual person himself.
Oh, the coach who I despise, not the man behind
It's much like we've discussed, like the logic behind hatred of baseball players. Like, I hate Derek Jeter.
Yeah.
Like, when he's on that field, there's nobody I hate more. And when it's talking about like the Yankees and everything like that, see Jeter's stupid fucking face and I get angry. But if I was at a party in New York and then Jeter walked up and he's just like, "Hey, how's it going?" I'd be like, "Hey, Derek Jeter, nice to meet you."
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
You're fake. You are a fake motherfucker. That's what it is. Impeach this motherfucker.
Yeah. No, I mean, if you're Michael Vick or something like that, there's obviously differences between
Michael Vick now or Michael Vick then.
Well, I mean, Michael Vick, probably heat of dog fighting. Yes. Michael Vick.
Okay, fair enough.
Arrested Michael Vick.
Nonetheless, so apparently the story, according to Corey, the story is accurate, which I had not heard. But Fitzgerald's son had emergency surgery, and now he's going in for a second emergency surgery.
There was to put that into context, just to make it so it doesn't seem like we were doubting the surgery.
Yeah.
When Fitzgerald was supposed to sit in front of the council. And they were going to do the open doors where people say whether or not they approve or disapprove of Fitzgerald as
just
Baltimore
comments.
Police Department. Yeah, comment period.
Yeah.
And the night before that was due to happen, he left town and said he had an emergency.
Yeah.
And there wasn't any information for the entire weekend about what the emergency was.
Right.
Just that he had an emergency. And at that point,
seemed when
nobody knew anything, it seemed like, oh, he has an emergency.
Right.
But it does in fact seem like his son is having some
legitimate
like
no, but
possibly fatal surgery that could be.
The question though is, if things were going well for him in this job interview, would he have backed out? Or would he have kept up?
I mean, this again, just based off of what little information I have, I would tend to think that he probably doesn't want to make any kind of moves if his son's health is
fair enough.
in question.
Yeah.
And he probably would have, even if everyone was like welcoming him with open arms, I mean, he probably would be commissioner if people were like super happy to have him come into town. It wouldn't have taken so long to get around to the vote.
Be also here.
Yeah.
And by the way, some of the best children's hospitals in the world.
Mm-hmm. But I'm saying, like, I would understand why you wouldn't want to move if you're having a family emergency with health implications, especially. Like, you probably don't want to lose or have any kind of problem with your health insurance.
Yeah.
Or switching doctors or switching anything like that if you're...
Be far away from your kid if it's just you going. So, be that as it may. He's now withdrawn his name, which means we are back to square one.
Where Catherine Pugh is in a shady room right now looking at the options of 4 people who everyone hates.
Yes.
Trying to decide which one to go with and calling the whole thing...
God knows she's not going to take any of the comments from the comment period and use that as guidance to say, maybe, just maybe, I shouldn't do this secretively. Maybe I should listen to what the people said and, have an open and public conversation.
How about this? How about just early on in the presidential race?
Yeah.
Before you have all the people, like all the defined candidates and stuff like that, a lot of polling places will just say, who do you intend to vote for if they decide to run?
Yeah.
And that opens it up to literally anyone who could possibly be president.
Yeah.
They would probably take votes, like if somebody made that call right now, they would probably take votes for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, even though she's not legally able to run for president.
She's not old enough to be president of the United States.
But I'm saying, like, there would be
by
people
the way, I am.
There would probably be people who say that they want to vote for her.
Yeah.
And they would put that as an answer on the thing, even though they aren't eligible to be president.
Yeah.
That same thing happened with Schwarzenegger a couple years ago after.
Yeah, because they put him on there, but he's a foreign-born person, so he's not eligible.
Right. Or Ted Cruz, I mean, who was allowed to get through all these rounds.
Yes.
But I think it would be interesting if you just had a basic nomination period where anybody and everyone can nominate somebody to be Baltimore Police Commissioner. And, obviously a lot of them are just going to be stupid. Like, we can't make your Uncle Rick,
Yes.
who has 2 years on the force, be police commissioner.
I mean, he might do a good job.
I'm sure he's a really great guy. I'm sure he doesn't get in any kind of trouble and he doesn't shoot anybody, but just not enough experience to be police commissioner. But I'm saying if you just take a week and say we're accepting all nominations for people who would either like to nominate themselves or nominate somebody else as somebody that we should examine, and then you have a list of 1,000 names that are all available on the internet and people could look at them all they want. Well, and then just start working down the list. And, obviously you're probably going to do a system where you pair out people immediately. Like, you just go like, oh, Rob G. can't be police commissioner.
I mean, I could.
Yeah, but they wouldn't allow you to.
The FOP would go on strike immediately. They wouldn't have to, though, because I'd fire everybody. So, but no, Oakland did.
We're starting a new union.
Oakland did this, though. They said, we are going to put a blue ribbon commission together, and they're going to pick one, and we're going to let public submission pick 4. And then we're going to pare down. I think they said they got like 200 submissions, and they pared it down to 4. Mm-hmm. Most of them were like, Huey Newton, dead, also Black Panther, so probably not.
Yeah.
Dead being the more important part, I think, of that. But probably wouldn't take a job on a police force, even if you offered it to him.
Yeah.
But nonetheless. So they pared it down and so they had 4. A guy who didn't make the short list is, what's his name? Former Baltimore cop who's on Rogan occasionally.
Oh, God, yeah, I know.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Although maybe, ironically, I'm not like a huge supporter of his as much as I used to be, but he might be a good name for the Baltimore City badge.
I mean, experience with the department, that's a benefit. I don't know if... it's part of the problem with being a police commissioner, and it seems like I'm going back to this touchstone a lot during this episode, but it's almost a different skill set than being a police officer.
Yeah.
So you have to be a police officer most of the time to end up being police commissioner, because they want to see you've done 20 years on the force somewhere, and that you've worked your way up the ranks. And, even if you're not a commissioner at another city, you're, like second or third in command, and,
commanding. You're good at command.
Right. But the skill set that it takes to be the executive of the police department is different than the skills it takes to be a cop.
God, what is that guy's name? Keep talking. I've been like pairing my brain.
For a minute there, I thought you were talking about Anthony Batts, because I think he was Oakland police commissioner for a while there too.
Michael.
Oh, Michael
Wood.
Shit.
Michael A. Wood.
Michael A. Wood, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know that he's a horrible choice. Yes, he is a cop. I do feel like he's better at the executive stuff than he would have been at the policing. But he's also like police friendly, because he's like, hey, it's not all your guys' fault. We need to prune the tree and get the bad apples out of it. So,
I was thinking about it like this.
Which is why I don't get away with them.
I was thinking about a good analogy for like the police department recently here. And it was, imagine that we have a decorative plate with money on it.
Okay.
That's just like sitting on the table right by the door, right? And people come into our place all the time, and we trust people that won't take the money that's laying there.
Yeah.
And of the people that we trust the most, like the cops, who we would expect to never take the money because that they took a job where
they're responsible
for that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They would probably be one of the people who would take the money the most.
Yes.
And that basic violation of trust is the problem.
Yep.
And the idea of they're not all bad, or they're not all, like my cousin is a police officer and he's not one of the problem police. It's like the fact that so many cops have taken the money makes me skeptical of cops taking the money.
Yeah.
So it's not about whether or not your cousin is a good guy or anything like that. It's about every cop who walks in here takes some money.
Yep.
And I can't trust, if 90% of them do it, I can't trust the other 10%.
But again, Michael A. Wood fired from the department and then branded a rat for speaking out about the dirty shit that happened. So maybe a good choice.
And turns out much worse than he ever talked about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gun Trace Task Force came out after that. So I think also Barksdale, from what I've heard, I don't remember his time there, but I feel like I should have because we were living in the city when he was working there. But everything I've heard from him, though, seems like a good choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Barksdale seems like a positive choice. So
I would worry, though, something that, I mean, Fitzgerald didn't do this. We talked about the tweets from Ryan Dorsey last week.
Yeah.
Or the week before, I don't remember which, where he was basically saying that all the answers that he got from Fitzgerald when they went down to Fort Worth were not what they were hoping for in terms of the leader of the Baltimore Police Department going forward. And I think we should worry about people who, I mean, the concern I have with Barksdale is that he might say things out in public that make the public think that he's on their side. And then he's going to say things to the troops behind like once the door closes and
it's just us boys here.
Yeah.
Just us boys.
Yeah.
So now that we've gotten that out of the way.
Now that the media's not here, let's talk about all the things we're going to do to black people.
I mean, he is black, though. So.
Yeah, I know, but
the other black people.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other black people.
You know, the undesirable ones.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see. In the next few weeks, we'll be telling. I have a feeling that Pugh is just going to do the same thing she did last time, like you said. Get in a meeting or a room and just pick somebody, which...
I feel like she's going to do it real quick, too.
Yeah.
I feel like Monday, we're going to hear a name that we've never heard before, and she's going to be like... Oh,
after a thorough investigation and vetting process.
I did an entire weekend on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Well, not an entire... I had other things to do. I have my crochet I got to get into, but,
I looked on LinkedIn.
I spent a sizable 45 minutes to an hour on LinkedIn looking for possible police commissioners.
This is the guy. This is the guy who's going to save this city.
This guy, Randy Smiley, is going to be the new police commissioner.
It's Randolph, not Randy. He doesn't go by Randy.
The long list of police departments that he has had interactions with, it just turns out to be a drug kingpin who's listed all the times he's been arrested. I've been arrested by New York, I've been arrested by Miami, been arrested by LAPD.
He's been in an extensive, many police departments have good positive references for him.
He has, I'm not even going to lie, 15 different agencies under his belt.
Yep.
It's an incredible number.
Yep. Anyway, so we'll see, and we'll keep you guys posted over the next few weeks. There's going to be no sports news out of Baltimore because, again, the Capitals don't count. So we'll keep you posted on the Baltimore Corner and the development.
You don't count.
Yes, well. Anyway, and that is it for that. The Baltimore Corner.
Where you get the straight dope.
Anyway.
By lightning round thing, real quick.
Yes.
I just want thoughts.
Yes.
The first major potential presidential nominee has announced her candidacy.
Don't do it.
Elizabeth Warren.
No.
Do you have a take on Elizabeth Warren as a potential Democratic nominee for president?
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
I mean, listen, like I don't know who is going to win. It ain't going to be Elizabeth Warren. Not that I don't think she would be a good president. Not that I don't think she'd be a good executive in general. I like her ideas. Honestly, I want her to stay in the Senate just so we can get that student loan thing passed and done. I mean, unless you could do that by executive order. But I also don't want to lose in 2020 because I want this national nightmare to be over. Mm-hmm. And Warren ain't the one.
I mean, who is the one though? That's the problem.
We need to find.
Like I can understand your logic that Warren isn't the one that gets you energized and excited to go vote for Democrats in 2020.
I don't care about that.
But I'm saying
no. You're getting confused because Democrats are going to vote for a Democrat no matter what. We are all leftists are tired of that. So the people who do vote are going to vote for it. What we need though is a Gilchrist. We need a guy who appeals not just to Democrats who are going to vote for whatever Democrat we put up there. God knows we showed that
so Beto?
Thus far. No, it can't be Beto.
Why can't it be Beto?
I mean, it just can't be Beto. I don't think he has the appeal amongst Republicans. But we need somebody like Beto. I'll say.
I enjoy that Martin O'Malley decided to get out ahead of it, by the way, and say he's not running in 2020 and that he's endorsing Beto before Beto even announced that he's running.
Here's the ironic thing. You need a Martin O'Malley. We don't need Martin O'Malley.
Yeah.
We need a Martin O'Malley.
We need somebody who has a pedigree standing up on that stage to be mopped up by other people.
Yes.
Yeah.
A guy who was walking through West Baltimore and Montgomery County and was comfortable in both places. Mm-hmm. We need a guy who can go to South Mississippi.
Up until Freddie Gray.
Oh, yeah.
He's walking those, came home early from his trip to Ireland, walking the streets and
not good.
Getting his press coverage cut out every 30 seconds by somebody going like, Martin, you fucking suck.
Yes. Next to the Catch Me on My Twitter feed, some of the best videos you'll see where he can't even talk just because people are just cursing in the background of his video.
I was watching.
Get the fuck out of here, man!
I was watching a video of Garcetti too at some
also not a good choice.
Some sort of speaking to the public events, and people just started like screaming at him, and he's just like, I can't. If you don't give me an opportunity to speak, then I'm not going to be able to speak to these issues. And just people are just like, fuck you, Garcetti.
Yes.
Okay. You said enough.
So we need a Martin O'Malley type. We need a Beto type, and not Beto.
I mean, Garcetti seems like a Martin O'Malley type.
He is, but I just don't like.
Just
Garcetti.
not enough. Just not enough credentials.
I don't like Garcetti, so that's where I am on that. Here's where I stand. I have started following the mayor of South Bend, Indiana.
Oh God, I know who that is too. God, what is his name or her name?
Pugli Don or something like that.
Yeah, I know.
It's I can't remember. And the last name's going to be a hindrance to him because he's not going to be
just like when Theroux Vinerage I can't even do it.
Vigerinu?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. No,
Visionary.
that's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
But
when you can't pronounce the name of the candidate, it's usually a bad start.
He is a moderate blue dog Democrat who is liberal in all the ways I like to see. I mean, I'm not going to vote either way, so it doesn't matter. But liberal in all the ways I like to see, but like conservative in the ways that will attract moderate Republicans. Not even moderate Republicans. Republicans who are like, no more. None of this. We are not doing this anymore. I'm not voting for another Trump. And he'll get those guys. That's who we need. And you could follow, just check out my tweets. I've retweeted him a couple of times. And I tweeted earlier this week with a thinking emoji after I reviewed his timeline and was like, this guy is, he's all right. He's all right. But again, the last name that I can't remember nor pronounce, if I could remember it, is going to be a detriment. And the fact that he's the mayor of South Bend and in 2 years is expected to run for the White House.
It's a pretty big jump.
Probably too big of a jump.
Maybe you want to spend a couple years building up your social media team and.
Oh no, he's got like a fire team.
Oh, does he?
Yeah. For what it's worth, like he's apparently more popular and well known than like the mayor of Chicago. Rahm Emanuel, yes, yeah. Maybe not more well known because Rahm was with the Obama White House, but
and
like
brother of Ari Emanuel. Like, how can you?
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You really didn't know?
No, I didn't know that.
How would you?
I think we've talked about that before.
How would you
actually,
like to be another sibling in the Emanuel family? By the way,
yeah.
Here's my son Rahm. He's mayor of Chicago. Here's my son Ari. He's the biggest agent Hollywood has ever seen. And here's Jerry. He works at TGI Fridays.
Dad, I'm a key holder. I'm a key holder at TGI Fridays.
I count the money.
They trust me. Anyway,
assistants to the general manager. Thank you very much.
I feel like this is what we should do. How about this? Let's go. Let's set ourselves a goal for 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
Let's come back with some options.
On 250?
250?
Episode 250?
Yes, on episode 250. Yes, on episode 250, which will be the first one.
Did you think I was asking for 250 options?
I was like, wait, what? How many options?
That's way too fucking deep of a bench. I'm not.
No. There's one guy running. I don't know why we would need 250 options.
All right, 198. Carl Douglas. He was on the OJ defense team.
I feel like he's qualified.
I think it's good enough.
Yeah.
I'm really trying here.
No, okay, so episode 250. Let's come back with options.
Okay.
And hopefully the shutdown will, I hope for the sake of the people who are involved that the shutdown will be over.
Yeah.
But I hope for the Trump administration that the shutdown is still going strong because this is going to be an abomination on American history.
It's going to be a race to the fence. You know when it's going to end? Mm-hmm. Right before people start blaming Mitch McConnell.
Mitch McConnell?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because he's going to be like, let's wrap this shit up now.
As soon as people are just going like, you know whose fault it really is? Mitch McConnell for not calling a vote. I mean, they had a 100 to nothing vote the other day. They could override his veto.
Yeah.
And it's not like you wouldn't be able to find Republicans in the House to be able to give you the 2/3. All the Democrats would be involved. It's just like, as soon as that message starts getting out more than whatever Trump says about the wall, and it's just 24-hour coverage of people going like, you know whose fault this really is McConnell's.
Yeah.
That's when Mitch picks up the phone. He's just like, all right, we're doing a vote right now.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I am not having this shit happen on MSNBC on my watch.
So, by the way, I did the research and about what happened, and I was trying to figure out what happened. So, the House sent the Senate a bill, right? Mm-hmm. The Senate voted on that bill 100-1 and sent it back to the House.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't quite the same bill that the House sent them. There were several amendments, which is what happens. And right before they went in conference about that bill, the Republicans in the House passed a second bill that was similar to the first one, but included the wall. And the Senate Democrats said, this is a non-starter. If you're bringing that to our conference, we're not even going to talk about it.
Yeah.
So we know that something got passed. It never got vetoed by Trump. And that's the important thing.
It was just a CR. That was the...
Yes.
Yeah.
But the important thing is it never got vetoed, because if they do vote and they do send it to Trump and he vetoes it, then they can override the veto with 66 and it becomes law anyway. Trump is to blame, but McConnell is deeply involved in that blame as well.
Yeah.
Because all he's got to do is send him a bill.
All I'm saying is the way these things work is somebody gets blamed up front.
Yeah.
And then the longer it goes on, ancillary people get involved.
Blame is starting to get shifted.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the moment that it seems like the wind is blowing from Trump to McConnell is the second you're going to hear a vote.
Yeah.
Where
and then
there's a CR to continue the government for 3 months while we discuss possibilities for how to effectively.
No, I think it's shorter.
I'm sure it will be, but I'm saying
3 weeks.
Something tells me that they want to kick this can. Like, they don't want to have like a 3 week or a 1 month, because if they do that, then there's still going to be coverage of people. If it's 3 months, then you get the 3-day story of.
Here's the thing
of a shutdown's over. Who's to blame? And then people forget that 3 months from now we have to do this all over again.
No, they're going to they'll do short period to be 3 weeks, because you know what happens at the end of those 3 weeks? They will send him another bill, or they'll bring it up and he'll say, no, I told you where I stand. No wall, no sign. And then McConnell can push it back over to him and get what he really wants, which is a government that doesn't work.
Yeah.
McConnell's goal is to spend the next 2 years with the Democratic House just not doing anything.
Yeah, that would be the best case scenario for McConnell. As long as it doesn't
look bad on him,
hurt him politically at all, then he'll do whatever he can to keep the government shut down. He doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
He doesn't care if your kids eat beans because...
Or don't eat at all, or lose their house.
Well, I meant like the beans on the toothpicks, like over top of a fire in an oil can, you know?
Nope. He does not give a shit at all. His millions are still safe.
Yeah.
So, anyway, things are looking up.
Anyway,
it's morning in America.
It's morning in America. God, why is there so much fire? If you want to go to other places where it's morning in America, you can go to OTheAnthem.com, Corey to OTheAnthem.com, O The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's that alarm? I mean, that number again?
443-219-7595. And you can find more of me at my website, CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com, at LegendCP5 on Twitter and Instagram, and at Corey Baker Film on Facebook. The Aquaman review is up, to which people have started getting involved, which I enjoy, like scrapping it out in the comments.
Good.
And the Vice review should be up today as we release this podcast. So Tuesday, Vice review.
Excellent.
And then maybe we'll see a movie tomorrow and we can add something on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Rachel said she wants to see The Favorite, but I don't think she really wants to see The Favorite. I think she's just saying that. I think 20 minutes into another Yorgos Lanthimos film, she's just going to be like, "What the fuck did I sign up for?"
Yeah, or I mean, listen, she should say that for a ladies' night, and they'll go have 3 bottles of wine amongst the 3 of them, and then they'll be fine with whatever movie, because some young dude, some 19-year-old guy is gonna go wake them up 4 hours after the movie ends and be like, "Ladies, I feel like we're closing. Need you to leave."
They're gonna walk in. They're gonna be like, "Have you heard this shark song?" Dun 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 dun.
Anyway, of course, you can find more of me at Robert N. Cheek on all your social networks, as it says right there. You can check out robertncheek.com, where you can find links to my political blog, the news website, and the books, which are available on Amazon.
Barrow's books.
I've sent the final draft of the latest book to everyone for review. Not really for
tribunal.
review. More, not review even, just comments, because Corey gave me all the necessary notes. We just have a intro that needs to be approved, and then that will be out. And maybe we can take a little while to talk about that on a future episode.
Yeah.
As soon as I get it going. So make sure you check that out.
Well, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you're listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
And please, nobody release that video of me looking really hot and dancing on the roof of Baltimore. Like, I just don't want that kind of public embarrassment. Please,
that
just
video
don't.
does not exist.
A really good-looking video of me with my shiny hair.
I will say people can go look in the past of your Facebook, though, and find some really good-looking pictures.
Corey Baker is the idiot.
Everyone should look up Corey Baker is the idiot on YouTube today.
All right, goodbye.